And right now, I want to show you something. Look at this. Check this out. Even though it's a little outdated, I'll bet you don't have any trouble at all figuring out whose modeling composite this is. Yes, and she's here right now. Let's bring her out, Brooke Shields. There you go. Look at you.
You wouldn't mess with me in this, huh?
No, I'm telling you.
Good, okay. Just
you make me want to join right up.
Definitely. Well, thank you.
You should be one of those posters that Uncle Sam puts right out.
I'll be a recruiter.
You've got your name tag. It says BC Shields. Now, BC stands for?
Brooke Krista.
Of course.
My name, of course.
Desert. And are you?
They made me an
honorary
lieutenant, of course. Yes, I
United States Marine
paid my
Corps.
dues for that, and I maintained.
Let's check out these zippers. Have lots of little places to hide
This actually, yeah, really, it's a flight suit, and they are so comfortable. I think they're really flattering. I mean, I think that
No, I agree. I really do.
Yeah. Thank you.
Just stand up. Stand up and just take one little twirl here, if you don't mind.
Thank you.
Oh,
well,
yes.
actually, they gave me this while I was over there, and it was very, very, very nice of them. This was the attire that we had while we were on our trip.
Did you feel the heat?
The heat actually had dissipated by the time we had gotten there. The nights were a bit chillier, and the days weren't that bad, and it was very, very lucky because they were coming out of hundreds of degrees weather, and it was just unbearable.
Well, last time you were here, you talked about going over there, and then you ran into some trouble.
Ran into a great deal of trouble, actually. I was originally supposed to go December 7th to Saudi Arabia. And December 6th, we found out that they wouldn't give me a visa because I was young, single, and female. And
that ain't all.
no, I mean, I was hurt by it. I was confused. We have young, single female women in the military, journalists, and it was really, I understand the idea of the cultural differences and respecting it. And I had said, basically, this is the type of attire that I wore the whole time I was there. We didn't get to go into Saudi Arabia, but I did get to secure a visa into Bahrain, which is an island, and it's a great deal more liberal, and it's just north of Saudi Arabia.
Close enough so you could get there, and you saw some of the military personnel.
Saw a great deal of the military personnel.
What are they thinking about? What do they miss the most?
I mean, obviously they all miss home. They miss the comforts of home. They miss knowing what's going on. The unfortunate thing is the deployments have just increased and they're augmenting rather than, so the guys that have been there for 4 months, the guys and girls, our troops, they're not getting to go home. So, I mean, they miss junk food. They need things like flea collars. I mean, it's because the desert, the sands.
Flea collars?
Real actual, I mean, it's...
You mean like you put on a dog and they put the flea collars around
Exactly.
themselves?
We said, what do you want? They said, we don't want any more hard candy. And they needed things like aloe. And because the flea collars, they wear them on their wrists and ankles so that the fleas, I guess, are just absolutely horrible over there.
Oh.
We distributed gift packs which had junk food in them, pretzels and cookies and things like that, and the kind of stuff that they really wanted.
Well, Brooke, you talked to some of the ladies too, because I could talk to you about the men, obviously the men in uniform, but there are women in uniform over there too. What are they afraid of? They're scared of a lot of things, I'm sure.
I think that the fear is pretty, it's universal in the sense that it's not just women or men. I mean, there aren't as many women as there are men, but the women would not go into combat, but they're there and they're going through all of it.
You know what we do? We tape our show every night and we send it over to the troops. So this is going to be a real special moment.
Oh, great.
And do they feel like they're getting all the news about what's going on?
They're actually... I don't think anybody really knows the situation. I think that they're young. That some of them have been in the military for years. I mean, it's very varied, and I think that they're ready. Their morale is so high, and they are.
It is really.
It really is.
How do they feel America? I want to come back and ask you how they feel America is supporting them, because that's important. I think people need to know that. And also, we got some shots of you with the people in uniform over there, because it's the first time you've seen this. We'll be back with Brooke Shields. Stay here. Got a lot coming up. We're here with Brooke Shields. Just got back from Operation Desert Shield.
Yes, I did.
How do
In
they
Bahrain.
feel about us? How do they feel about us and the support that the people over there are getting from their fellow Americans?
They are so thankful. I mean, the mail that they have gotten has started off at about 4,000 letters, I think it was, a week, and now they have about 8 million letters. It's so important to them to know that we're all supporting them. The morale is really good. They are ready. They're so thankful of the support that they've gotten from home, and they said to us that that's the most important thing. I mean, they were so congenial and welcoming to me. I felt that I was virtually doing nothing, but at the same time, they were so thankful to just know that I was bringing messages and saying we support them.
And we do. You know, I really want to say on behalf of this show and as patriotic as it sounds, that we do support what's going on over there.
Well,
because this is our family. You know what?
They are us. I mean,
you can have any opinion you want to have, but at some point you got to say, hey, you know what? This is not a game. This is not Rambo, and people have said that. But do they tell you what they tell you what they're fighting for? That's what America wants to know. Do they know what they're fighting for?
I don't think that they're not really so verbal about that from that point, because it doesn't really matter. What they're saying is, no matter what you feel politically and no matter what your views are, and of course we all have very strong views either way, they just don't want the target to be them as far as personally, because as long as they know that we're on their side, it doesn't become a question about politics so much as it says you are our troops and we support you and thank you for protecting us. And I don't think, because they're not very verbal because they're all there and they're all ready and willing and very, very strong.
You flew a plane over there.
Oh, I did.
I didn't know you were a
I feel sorry
pilot.
for everybody else that was. Well, neither did I. But get one of these suits on, and amazing things that you can do. It was a C-2, and it's a catapult plane, a plane that gets catapulted. We were on the USS Midway. They catapulted us off, and within 2 seconds, you go 145 miles per hour. That's the takeoff. I mean, and you can imagine.
You actually took off in the...
We took off, and it's a bizarre feeling, the strangest 2 seconds you've ever felt, because you can't, there's no thoughts come into your mind, nothing. You think everything's fine. You're sitting backwards like that, too.
Yeah.
And then the pilot brought me up to the cockpit, and he said, go ahead, steer. And I thought, sure, he's got it on autopilot, and let the little girl sit in there. He said, turn. I turned, and I felt the whole plane, and I wanted to throw up. I was sick to my stomach.
This is USS Kennedy. We've got Brooke Shields throwing up here. And, that's a 10-4. What do we do?
Well, she's normal. Yeah.
Now let's get personal. Let's get personal. How would you personally feel if you were over there, Brooke? Because you actually went over there. How would you feel right now?
Well, you have an incredible support system, both there and at home. So I would feel a part of it, but I would be scared. I mean, as the average age, I was about 6 years older than the average guy over there and girl. And I mean, the average age is 19, and I feel like I'm a young person. I feel I'm starting my life, and the reality of it is what I find so almost devastating. You read about it. I mean, this is really the first time that this generation is a part of history from that place, and it's a reality, and it's hard to be almost objective about it. It's real, and it's scary.
You're probably right about this. You've always written so many things. You wrote the Brooke book at one time.
Yes, I did. I wrote a great deal. I wrote a great deal in my diary. I mean, there were moments that you saw. I mean, on New Year's Eve, for instance, they had the Weasel Dome, which was a dome that they built. I mean, all the airstrips and all the runways and all the tents, everything was built there. I mean, for the first few weeks, they were living on the sand, and I was over there, and I just saw these faces, and they thanked me, and they were so honest about thanking me, and it was that type of connection that said, we have to just support them and say thank you.
I hope you can go back, and we can all go back just to visit. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. Very much so. We were lucky in Bahrain because it's a great deal more liberal. It's an island, and I could wear, basically normal clothes. But
I want you to go back and wear what you normally wear, what we know that you wore in Blue Lagoon.
Oh, God. That's what kept me out of Saudi Arabia, probably.
Hey, we'll be back. Brooke Shields, what it's all about.